It's really nice to have you back once again. I know we've been talking about and waiting on this record for a little while now, but Shade, it's finally going to be here. I mean, you've been working on this for a while, and I know there's a lot to talk about and a
Yeah.
lot to digest with this record. I've read that some of the story has to do with management and label talk, but I'd be curious with everything that's gone around world related. Has it lent you guys an opportunity to go back and change things with the times that have changed?
It's funny because, in as much as times have changed, nothing has changed. When we decided we were going to do this record, it was, our sort of homage to the blues. And the blues has never gone away, literally and figuratively. In as much as we can look at the world and say it has evolved in some way, shape, or form, a lot of things have not. And we acknowledge that. So it wasn't as much changing musically or changing aesthetically the things that we needed to change. I think we just need to refine what we had said. Because as I said earlier, the blues never goes away. Circumstances, unfortunately, let you know that. When we decided that we were going to do Who Shot Ya, for example, it was about the proliferation of guns, and that hasn't stopped. When we did a song like Come On, the whole idea of Come On is really sort of saying something that you wish you could say. That doesn't change. There's emotional aspects to this music that stays where it is. That's immutable. It doesn't change. But at the same time, circumstances sort of confirm that in a way, and that's what we're talking about.
You brought up, who shot you, and that great cover. Of course, that was, and thank you guys for giving that one a bit early because I know we got that one last year on the EP. As I was kind of going back, through the past few years of your all's career, even back to the start of the 2000s, and I found that cover of you guys doing Springsteen's 41 Shots, which a completely powerful performance there. It's on YouTube, and I started sort of comparing those a little bit because there you are, as you say, nothing changed. It's exactly what you're talking about. You guys have been sort of commenting on this for a long time through the arts, and still that you're having to do this to this day.
Right. Well, I think all we try to do is give a voice to the things that we see and try to deal with it musically. So these are the things that we see. These are conversations that we have constantly. And if your eyes are open, this is a conversation that we've been having for a very long time. I don't think these kinds of conversations have ever stopped. This has always been going on. The changes that good, bad, or indifferent have been incremental, have not been large scale. So nothing is really changing.
Do you get a sense that the needle is moving to one side or the other, better or worse? Because it always feels so bad when you're in the moment, but when you talk about it in this sense, that you're right. I know how we were feeling. Everybody was feeling in the Bush era, or wherever it was.
Right. Exactly. You could point to any particular point in time, and I can give you a myriad of reasons why it was the best of times and why it was the worst of times.
Yeah.
I can, and we have to. Time is the only arbiter of what was the right thing and what was the wrong thing in some cases. I think that if you look back at the early 90s and the mid 90s and compare it to now, you'll find some very stark differences, but you'll find some very, very similar situations that people are in.
Yeah.
And that I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but it is a thing.
And it completely makes sense as you guys talk about this being a blues inspired record because you look at the history of music and of rock and roll and everything else, and blues was always the sound of social unrest. Even during the 60s rock and roll period, it was blues-inspired music that was leading to the political rock and roll songs as they were. Unfortunately, well-timed on your all's part.
Right. Well, even not to toot my own horn or to go back in history, but that's what Cult of Personality was. It was it's an expression and a phenomenon that exists everywhere. and it doesn't change. That part of it doesn't really change. There's always going to be somebody who becomes a media darling of the time. It might be a president. It might be, a religious leader. It might be somebody off the street. It happens all the time. That doesn't change.
Right.
I think that's part of the reason why the song sort of doesn't go away, because it talks about things that you understand, and things that have that really aren't very different any different than they were 10, 5, 3, 15 minutes ago. Truth is the truth is the truth.
Yeah.
We that's what we're trying to get at. I think in most instances, is you're trying to get to the truth.
Furthermore on that, on Shade, Who Shot You is not the only cover, right? There's 2 other covers.
Yeah, there's 2 other covers. We did a Robert Johnson cover, which is was the impetus for us to start making this record, and we did the 100th anniversary of Robert Johnson's birth at the Apollo Theater, and we played a bunch of his songs. And we're like, we never really tackled the blues head on. We never gave an interpretive sort of idea of what the blues was to us, and maybe we should. We've hinted at it. We've taken bits and pieces of the blues and jazz and hard rock and heavy metal and hip hop and all kinds of stuff, but we've never sort of looked something in the eye with our own sort of focus. We gave our focus to something that we thought needed to be talked about. And this is part of how we got to where we are right now, where I'm talking to you.
And you've brought an interesting guest to this record as well, because you got George Clinton on here too, right?
We have, we have. George is, in his own way, is a legend in that he in his own interpretation of the blues. If you think of a song like Maggot Brain, come on, that's the blues. That's all it is the blues. To have him come along was a big honor. He was, we've known Mr. Clinton for a very long time, and it feels good to know that these things are still here. That there are still people who can help you express exactly what's going on in your mind.
I would say the exact same thing about you to us fans. So I'll kind of
thank you.
Yeah, give you a big thank you right there too. Well, cool, man. I'm looking forward to hearing all the rest of it too. I've only heard about half the record so far, and I'm so impressed. And I love it when you guys are doing it. And however long it ever takes, as long as you keep making music, that's all we can ever ask for. So.
Oh well, as long as there's time left, we will keep doing it.
All right. Well, thank you, Cory. It was really great talking to you.
Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
Take it easy now.
Bye.